Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you.
Oh boy. So here's the question, guys. Here's the question. Why are Republicans losing to Democrats when Republicans seem to have a better message, better solution to many of the issues that this country is facing? Don't answer that yet. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment. Why do we keep losing to Democrats over and over again? We're supposed to have a red waves. 2020 happened, and recently we got beat up. And I would like to know, why is this happening? And let me set the stage here with this video.
Swami, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why should you be the nominee and not the former president?
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer to the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real, or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Ronna.
Sorry. This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
and they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why you?
Oh boy. So go ahead. Let's hear some comments before we go to the next video, because Ronna McDaniel also answered him, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But my question is now, going back to what I've asked you, Darth Vader, like, what is going on here?
Basically, from what I've seen in the Republican Party, they're discombobulated. They're not a unified party, and they don't really have a clear goal and direction as to what they want to do, and they're not as cohesive as the Democrats. And in doing such, they turn around and it's that old adage, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And right now the Republican Party is that house divided because we have too many rhinos in the party.
Wow. All right, let's go to the chat. These are good points you just made here. Let's go to the chat. Lies through the media. That plays a role. I think that
that plays a big role in the fact that it divides the house. I mean, you know, you got people who are too wishy-washy and aren't willing to take a firm stand. Say like the person who just kicked out the hub speaker of the House and stood up for doing that. To replace him with somebody who has strong conservative Christian values.
Good point. Keiko no Dean, because Democrat lies, cheat, and steal. That's also true. Republicans have no spine.
But why do they? But the thing is, Keiko, the reason they're able to do that is because one, we allow them to get away with it, and two, they're united in their goal of doing that.
That is true. The Dems are very united, even when it comes to the wrong issue. They do not protest against one another's policies.
Exactly.
Unlike the Republicans, we are consistently fighting, like you've said earlier,
and backstabbing each other.
Yeah, a house divided against itself. Very interesting take you just gave me here. All right, so let's keep going. Hello, fellas. Hello there. Let's go to the chat some more. Let's see what other answers we have. Vivek told the truth. I am late 6 hours. Are you really?
No, you're not. You're not. You're not late.
You're in just in time. More like 6 minutes. Oh, man. Okay, LSU. All right. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. So here is the thing. Likes his approach. Too many rhinos. Again, we're hearing that again. So there is a problem from the inside with the Republican Party. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. So got you. So now let's listen to Daniel McDaniel. Well, before we listen to that, let's listen to Vivek Moswami.
And here the thing that Paul brings up, they are a party of projection, and yet the problem is Republicans are too afraid to fire back.
Okay.
For looking like the bad guy. They're trying to take the moral high ground, and in doing so, we give up too much ground.
Good
we
point.
Don't fire back, and if you know anything about warfare, you continually cede ground, even if it's an inch at a time. Eventually, you're not going to have any ground left to secede.
I think Republicans, since majority of us are Christians, it's above 60% of Republicans who believe in God. I think the issue with that is we're trying to govern with Christian values.
You can govern with Christian values. Doesn't mean you can't fight back.
You can't. You can't fight back. You can't address. You can't keep turning the other cheek when it comes to politics. I think the Democrats have learned how to fight dirty. The Republicans are trying to fight clean. So I think that's part of the problem here as well.
But you can fight dirty with clean. And still come out on top.
Okay, say that again. Say that again.
You can fight dirty with clean and still come out on top. Do your laundry.
My goodness. Okay, that's a mouthful.
Good evening, Janice.
Okay, that's a mouthful, that Raider. All right, let's look at this one because Vivek Ramaswamy went a little bit deeper on the PBD podcast and began to explain some stuff that was going on with himself and Ronna McDaniel, and a very interesting take. Let's take a listen.
How you doing?
Good
How you
to
feeling?
be here. I'm feeling good.
Good.
I'm feeling pretty unconstrained. And
how was dinner with your family and Ronna McDaniel last night?
you know, it was well. She said she refused to pay the bill because she's not. I'm not going to get another cent from the RNC.
Yeah, I saw that.
Can you believe
she
this?
say that? Can she say that?
I mean, not legally. I mean, if you think about your duty, is not your money.
Yeah,
it's not your money, right? And so I don't know if you think people know what we're already
this is the
talking
story
about.
you're talking about right here.
Yeah,
right?
people already know what we're
He's
talking
an
about.
Asshole, total asshole.
So just so people, if they didn't watch the debate the other night or whatever, I am a believer in accountability. Okay, so this woman is appointed chair of the RNC, Republican National Committee, in 2017. Let's just do the math. It's not that complicated. 2018, loss. 2020, loss. 2022, no red wave. 2023, bad trouncing. So insanity is expecting a different conclusion unless you're going to make a change. This is the person who's running the Republican National Committee. So that had happened the night before the debate, the 2023 trouncing. So I went on stage and said, when nobody else, every other candidate's supposed to delicately tiptoe around the genteel norms of the RNC. And it's not like I surprised her with this. Okay. We actually, I haven't talked about this before. So we had a debate walkthrough. You kind of go through in the morning of. I'm not making this up. It's like, I wish there was no cameras allowed in there. We can catch this. She comes in. She's just like trying to give me a hug. I'm like, I'll give you a handshake. And I was just like, how are you doing? And she's like, how are you doing? I was like, not great. I mean, the election didn't go very well last night. She's not great given last night. And I'm not even kidding you. Here's what she says. What happened last night?
Oh my
No, she
God.
No, no, I'm not kidding. So I thought she was joking. So I'm just like, yeah. She's like, no, but seriously, what happened last night? And then she got kind of combative about it.
Who's around when this is happening?
Oh, like people from NBC, other like staffers from the Republican
She came
Party.
to want to give you a hug. You said, I'll give you a handshake.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll give you a handshake.
Have you guys had any feud prior to this or no?
No, but I believe in, well, we have, not multiple actually. Because it's not personal. It's the failure of how she leads this party. I mean, number one, at the start of this race, I said, release the debate stage criteria so you don't play games later. I believe that played a role. And she was just like, no, but they actually released it earlier than they did last time around because I believe I called on them to. So they released it at least earlier. So I gave credit where credit was due when they at least responded. First, she was like, no, we're not going to do it. We're staying radio silent. But I believe it had an impact on that. And I gave credit where credit was due. So that loop was closed. Then Fox calls me after the second debate and Chris Christie and say, hey, would you spar with Chris Christie or have a open dialogue since the second debate? I mean, the unspoken reality is that was useless. So I said I would do it. The night before, Ronna McDaniel calls me on my cell phone and says, you will be disqualified from the next debate if you participate in this discussion with Chris Christie. I said, Ronna, how does this advance the interests of the GOP? Like the GOP voter base. How is the GOP voter base better off if we hear less debate between the candidates? Explain that to me. She has no good explanation, but regardless, that raised some of my recent sparring with her in public. But this has nothing to do with me and her. What happened on the night before the debate was the Republican Party nationally got trounced. And everybody, if
destroyed, Kentucky,
totally destroyed.
everybody.
Virginia, I mean, kind of Ohio, you just go, these are red states, okay? Oh, Kentucky and Ohio, certainly. And so I'm walking in, this is the morning after that trouncing. This is the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. She's coming, she's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'll give you a handshake. She's like, how you doing? I said, not that well, given that last night didn't go very well. She said, what happened last night?
Like oblivious.
Is she saying it jokingly?
No, she's saying it almost angrily, right? Because I was like, the last night didn't go well. So like she's challenging me. She says, well, what happened last night?
Oh, okay.
Like, what happened last night? I don't know what happened last night. Tell me what happened last night.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is the person who's accountable for running the Republican Party. I said, well, last election. She said, we have nothing to do with that.
Man, that's wow. That's serious, man. So I want to hear from you. I'm still asking the question, why is the Republican Party keep losing to the Democrats when we have a much powerful, better message?
That's precisely the thing I was explaining, is the fact that we have no real leadership and no clear goal and no cohesion within the Republican Party.
Do you agree with Vivek Ramaswamy's appeal and call for her to be fired?
Yes, absolutely. If she's not supporting the head running candidates and people who are running and doing what they're supposed to, then there's no reason for her to be in the position she's in. Okay. Period.
She has an answer for Vivek.
This ought to be Rich.
Okay, brace yourself.
All right, joining me now, Ronna McDaniel, chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. Ronna, thanks so much for being with us. Vivek and others are saying that under your leadership, Republicans have lost election after election, and positing the question, why should you retain your job given the track record of the party under your leadership? And to that, what do you say?
Well, first, I'm going to continue to focus on Joe Biden and Democrats. And I think there was a moment missed during that debate by Vivek to talk about the fact that we still have 13 American hostages in Israel. The fact that for the first time ever in the history of either party, we had a Jewish co-sponsor for a debate, and we are in very perilous times in our country. And I do think Republican voters, and I hear this echoed all the time, are tired of the circular firing squad within our party. And they're saying, can we please talk about Joe Biden and the Democrats and the border and fentanyl and crime and what's happening to our kids and inflation? But I'll definitely defend my record as chair.
So what's wrong with this answer so far?
She completely misses the mark and the whole point of what he was saying.
Yeah.
Like so here's an analogy.
Okay.
if she was a ballistic missile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her target was, say, somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
She landed in California.
I think I know where she's going because I have this kind of streamlined way of thinking. I tend to go in the back and then I come to the front door. I think I know where she's going, but I think she missed her exit a long time ago.
Oh, she definitely missed the exit 10 turns ago. Like
he's like recalculating. Come
yeah,
back.
The GPS is confused.
Okay, all right.
Like
she's gonna get called out on that though. Yeah, Anger, I'm actually going to touch on that.
This is.
Yeah, I mean, Ronna, I think I agree with you. Let me just say, I mean, all that you just said, I couldn't agree with more. But and you're right. I mean, obviously that should be a key focus. But I know you believe in accountability. You talk about it all the time. I mean, everyone. I mean, I'm accountable. You're right.
Some accountability.
Okay, that's what I asked you, and you went into another.
Yeah, I was going to go there. Sorry, I took too long on the answer, but I was getting there. I'm not trying to avoid anything. Let me promise you that, Laura. Listen, when Vivek didn't vote in 2016, I was leading Michigan to the first win in history in 30 years. In 2018, we defied the odds. We got 3 senators, people like Josh Hawley, that allowed President Trump to build the largest conservative majority on the Supreme Court. In 2022, the RNC, which is a turnout machine, right? We're not the messengers. We don't create the messages for the campaigns. Those are the consultants who get very, very well paid.
Well, one of the things, though, Ronna, that happened was, I think in Virginia, people were wondering where the money was, whether they were going to get some help from the RNC. And I know at one point you said that you were not asked for money in Virginia, but a Republican source familiar with the Youngkin team in Virginia told The Angle late tonight that is false. And meaning your story keeps changing. Anyone who thinks Virginia Republicans wouldn't want help when we knew we'd be outspent isn't being serious. You know, Ronna, they were outspent by $8 million.
Glenn Youngkin and did a phenomenal job, and he raised a lot of money. A lot of people don't understand fundraising. I can't raise state dollars. I don't get unlimited convention and state dollars. And these were state House and state Senate races. The RNC is a federal committee. So, I mean, come on. Can you just, these are people who come after me all the time. They're on Twitter. They're all the time. And let's see their results. What did they do in Virginia? How much money did they give? But let me stand by something else. In 2022, we took back the House. And the RNC is part of that. We're building the road. And we're launching Bank Your Vote. We've got to do that.
Ronna, we got to roll, but thank you for joining us tonight.
Okay. All right. I think she really didn't say anything.
No, she was just talking in circles. And that's the problem, is they never give any real hard answers.
Okay. I have found a better answer. So I wanted to give it a benefit of the doubt. So I found a better answer, a better video where she actually does a much better job answering the question.
I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, DJ, yes, you're welcome. In case anybody didn't know, I'm also a veteran. And Creole, thank you.
Yeah. Creole Queen, do you have any connection to Haiti at all? Let me know. All right, let's keep going.
Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you.
Well, Ronna McDaniel, the aforementioned, joins us now. Ronna, we saw you right at the end of the debate run up onto the stage and address Vivek Ramaswamy directly. May we ask what you said to him?
Do you know what? That wasn't me, actually, Stuart. There must have been a lookalike. I've heard this reporting. I didn't speak to Vivek. I have not spoken to him since those comments.
My apologies.
You know, listen, he's at 4%. He needs a headline. I'm going to say what I've been saying to Republicans all along. Our headline should be about Joe Biden, the border, fentanyl, crime, terrible things that are happening in this country that the American people are looking to our party for solutions. But I also will stand by my record as RNC chair.
He said,
I am the one who delivered Michigan for the first time in 30 years when I was Michigan chair. We just won back the House under my leadership. And I'll add one other thing. In 2022, the RNC turned out 4 million more Republicans, and we would have won the Electoral College based on that turnout. Now, we don't do the messaging. That's a fact. We don't do it. And our candidates have lost their messaging on abortion. In Virginia, the Democrats spent 16 million on abortion ads. Republicans did not respond. In Kentucky, Democrats spent millions and millions on abortion ads. They did not respond. Now, the RNC doesn't do state races. We're a federal committee, so we weren't involved in those races on Tuesday. I know Vivek's kind of newer to the party. He voted for Obama, so he may not know that. But this is something we're going to have to get right as a party. As a suburban woman, I get this. Okay. You cannot allow Democrats to define us and say we won't give life-saving care for miscarriages or ectopic pregnancies, and then let it go unanswered, because then those lies become the truth. We are leading the way at the RNC on how to message on this issue. We saw great messaging from many of the candidates on the stage last night, and we're going to have to do this if we're going to win in 2024.
There have been reports that you have trouble with candidates, that they don't always, not exactly toe the line, but they don't always take your advice or direction. Is that accurate? Don't always...
Yeah, they have pollsters, they have their campaign managers, and the candidates craft their own message. But the RNC, the suburban woman who runs the party, in 2022 before the election, sent a memo to candidates, me and Kellyanne Conway, and we called candidates and said, this is a huge issue for our party. We have to talk about better care for adoption and pregnancy crisis centers, and we have to take this issue head on. And if we put our heads in the sand and pretend it's not there, we're going to lose, because Democrats will define us. And you know, Democrats are extreme on this issue. They do believe in abortion up until the date of birth. They do believe what China and North Korea does in gender selection abortion. So if we can't talk about this issue and we allow them to define us, that's what they're going to do, because they can't run on anything else. They can't run on crime or the border or fentanyl or national security or inflation. So they're putting all their money in this basket. And what Tuesday night taught us is Republicans have to respond.
Ronna McDaniel, the longest serving RNC chair since the Civil War. Thanks very much for being with us, Ronna.
And I've been elected 4 times, unlike somebody else who came after me last night. Thank you.
Got it. Point well taken, Ronna.
Appreciate it.
See you again.
Okay.
Just because you're elected doesn't mean you're good at your job. I'm sorry.
I know you probably were holding on to this answer for a little while.
Oh, my word. Like, talk about the mega Karen of Karens.
Well, we got to give credit, though, because what she's addressed here about the way Republicans respond to Democrats' appeal, consistent appeal to abortion and everything. Yeah, we're not responding well enough.
No, absolutely not. And
we have a better message than they do.
We do.
The rest of the world actually believe in our message. We're just not pumping it, I guess, delivering as we should.
Well, that in part and parcel because of a comment earlier, I can't remember who said it, was it's because the media won't put out our message.
That's a good point.
It's all about, everything being inclusive and the media pushing the woke agenda.
That's true.
Hence, going back to our last live stream about, certain documents being released.
I agree. So there is the oppression of the message as well. For example, I was on my Twitter page and I put out a video and it got censored. But you got to understand what the video was about. It was a video about a woman just simply talking. I know it's a little bit, anyway, it's not really significant to the discussion, but I find that social medias are censoring a lot of things that has to do with Republican voices or any messages that has some kind of Christian connection, any sort. They go after those messages. So
they do it all the time.
Yeah, this video here, they just released it.
Cycle.
Yeah, that was strike down. And I got a bunch of videos that were also community strike. This one here was actually Donald Trump. This was another pro-life message as well. They shut them down. This is all pro-life. Anything that talks about trans, pro-life on TikTok on my channel is removed. I found that to be very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you go to China and see their version of TikTok is totally different than what we see here.
They want to make sure we stay in line, indoctrinating and corrupting this country. So Republican frail on abortion as Democrats embrace a top 2024 issue. So it's crazy. Just like I kind of agree with Ronna McDaniel on the issue that Republicans are failing when it comes to abortion. There is an extreme way we go about abortion. I think Donald Trump was a lot more correct than we give him credit for, right? He's talking about 15 weeks. And again, I want you guys to understand something. I'm a Christian. I do believe that abortion should be illegal. Let me explain why. Because of my Christian view. I believe what happens to a child in the womb of their mother is equivalent to committing murder. Okay, I do believe that. However, is the world ready for this type of message right now?
No.
They're not. And when you go into the political sphere with that view, it just doesn't fit. Doesn't necessarily mean you can't have it. Well, you got to meet people halfway. And I think...
Well, the world's too corrupt for that type of messaging.
It's too corrupt. That kind of message cannot be received at this point of their lives. They're not ready for this. So Republicans have to not only speak about the issue, but they have to compromise to a degree because of the mentality of the people. If you keep pushing the abortion issue in the way that we are, to the point where you want to ban it completely, even though we are having all these other problems in the world, it could be open border crisis, the economy, things are just falling apart in wars, and they will neglect all that. The Democrats will vote because they vote with their emotion, right? They will neglect everything that is going wrong in the country, but simply because of abortion, they will vote, and then everything else falls apart. They don't really care. And that's what we have to understand. They're very emotional people, right? Cenk Uygur is a good example of that. They just shout and yell and scream about everything. So if you're going to appeal to those type of people, you have to appeal to their emotion, but you also have to meet them halfway. You can't just appeal to the intellect because facts really doesn't
matter
strongly. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to them.
It doesn't matter. You know, even though facts doesn't care about your feelings, but it seems like the more facts you give a Democrats is the more they get upset. So
their feelings don't care about your facts.
Yeah, I like that. And I think Republicans have to understand that, though. We have to understand this is the mindset we're dealing with, and we have to take a different approach. You know what I'm saying? So some people that are off the Democrat Party, they can digest it. You know, there's a lot of college students, when they hear it, they hear the Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk's message, and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to follow suit. But for the vast majority of them, they don't care. It's all about the way they feel. And the abortion issue is one of those issues that really mess with the feeling. And the way the Democrats pumping this message, they appeals much more to the emotion. That's why they are able to get so many people to vote for them, even though they're messing up everything else. They're messing up on the border, violence, the economy, corruption in the White House, crack in the White House. That's okay. As long as I have the right to abort my child, they will vote for Democrats. So
I mean, let's just
it's
call
a crazy
analogy. As long as I have the right to murder my child, is whenever I want.
Whenever I want, yeah, and that's just it. And you have to also understand the Democrat base there's a lot of young people there. They're not responsible. They're not out of college. They don't know what it's like to really start living life at this stage of their life. They're making decisions based on emotion. They want to party and just have fun with their girlfriends, and they want to make sure that there's no responsibility that follows. So the Democrats know that. That's why they're appealing to those base the way that they are. We got to understand this and counteract the message in a much powerful way. So,
yeah,
that's my thought on that. I could be wrong, but
no, you're absolutely right on that, and that's the problem. And honestly, I don't even think we really need to meet them halfway. I mean, I think just putting out our message and
that's right.
Thinking, understanding that the way we message it and the way we package it is really more important about, the message. That once we package it properly, I think the message will speak for itself.
I agree.
So, if we want people to be more, because if you look at how Democrats have done this, they've done it over time, and it hasn't been an overnight thing.
Yeah.
They've gotten people to learn to accept it and slowly It's the whole the frog in the boiling pot of water thing. They've slowly been turning up the heat, and until the frog no longer realizes he's boiling to death.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at it and you see these things happening, and it's like, well, yeah, that's all well and good, but we're not doing the same thing as Republicans.
No, we're not. And that's the problem.
We just try to hit people over the head constantly with everything.
Yeah.
Some people that works for, but the majority, it's not going to, because they're just going to turn around and come back screaming at you in the face like, Chunk Uger. And
we do have him coming up too. So
yeah, that guy, man, I tell you what, he's a piece of work.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. All right. So